You're sitting at the kitchen table and the conversation shifts. Someone makes a comment, a subtle jab disguised as a joke, and everyone laughs. You smile, nod, even chuckle softly, because that's what you've always done. You've been the bigger person so many times that it feels automatic, like breathing. But inside, there's a knot of exhaustion, a quiet ache that no one notices. That invisible weight you carry, the one that leaves you drained by the end of family gatherings, meetings, or even casual conversations. It's real, and it's been trained into you. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why this role is stealing your energy, and I'll show you how to stop playing it without losing your dignity. Later, I'll explain the one simple shift that makes silence your strongest ally instead of your enemy. Here's the first truth you need to hear: silence is powerful. That quiet moment when you don't respond, when you don't chase, when you don't explain or justify is more influential than any words you could say. It's hard because it feels like an action, like leaving things unresolved, like opening space for conflict or judgment. But that discomfort is exactly what creates change. When you stop reacting automatically, when you pause instead of jumping to fix the situation, you reclaim energy that has been habitually drained. And in that pause, you give everyone else the chance to see you differently, to feel the presence they've been taking for granted. Chasing, on the other hand, is the subtle surrender of power. Every time you reach out first, apologize preemptively, explain or reassure to smooth over tension, you are signaling that your energy is easily available. You are lowering your position. That is the spine line I want you to carry with you. Chasing lowers your position. Say it silently as you notice the impulse to react. Let it settle in. When you step back, instead of filling the gap, you are no longer at their mercy. You are no longer defined by their expectations or their humor. The psychology behind this is simple but profound. When you have always taken the high road, when you have always been the bigger person, your brain associates your role with survival. You've learned that compliance, patience, and smiling through discomfort keeps the peace. But the cost is invisible to everyone but you. When you stop automatically stepping up to protect others' feelings at the expense of your own, the energy around you shifts. It is uncomfortable because your brain is wired to seek connection and approval, and you're breaking a habit that has been reinforced for years. That break, the pause, the silence, is exactly where your power lies. I'll explain later how to hold it without guilt and turn it into a force that commands respect. Consider what happens when you stop chasing, when you allow a moment of tension or a subtle jab to exist without immediate smoothing. You force awareness. People notice the absence of automatic compliance. The familiar pattern is disrupted. That small shift creates a ripple. They may feel unease, confusion, or curiosity. They may wonder why you are not immediately reassuring, why you are not automatically giving, why you are not always the bigger person. That noticing, even if silent or subconscious, is where true respect begins. And that is why the spine line matters again. Casing lowers your position. Repeating it reminds you that restraint is not weakness, it is authority. It is hard to feel powerless in silence, especially when you have spent so long being the caretaker, the fixer, the one who keeps everyone else comfortable. Your instinct is to explain, to justify, to reach out, to prevent tension. But that instinct has been trained into you. It's what they expect. And when you resist, when you pause, when you allow the quiet to exist, you are disrupting expectations and reclaiming your own energy. You are showing that your presence is valuable, that your attention is intentional, and that your worth is not defined by your willingness to absorb every discomfort for others. By the end of this first step, you've already begun to shift the dynamic without a word. You are creating a space where boundaries, self-respect, and clarity can take root. You are stepping out of the role that has left you exhausted and stepping into the possibility of being fully seen, fully heard, and fully honored. And later, I will teach you exactly how to transform this pause into a daily practice of power, so that being the bigger person no longer drains you, but instead becomes a choice you make consciously on your terms. When you step back, you step into a space that has been foreign for too long. You have been trained to respond immediately, to smooth things over, to take responsibility for other people's comfort. That pattern becomes automatic, almost invisible. But when you stop, when you pause, something subtle begins to change, not just in you, but in them. Your absence interrupts the familiar rhythm. It forces them to notice the energy they've taken for granted, the automatic compliance they relied on, and the unspoken habit of you always being the bigger person. That pause creates tension, yes, but it also creates clarity. It allows both of you to see the dynamic for what it truly is. Chasing lowers your position. This is the spine line I want you to keep at the forefront of your mind. Every time you feel the urge to explain, to justify, or to reach out first, remember that giving into that impulse reinforces the old pattern. You are signaling that your energy is disposable, that your presence is a constant rather than a choice. When you resist, when you hold back, you communicate that your attention is intentional. That alone begins to shift perception. They start to feel that absence, that deliberate pause, and it sparks reflection. They may not say it aloud, but their mind registers the change. They begin to wonder why you are no longer immediately available, why you are no longer automatically absorbing tension, why your energy feels different. Handling the urge to reach out takes discipline, but it is entirely practical. First, create a deliberate buffer. Put some distance between the impulse and the action. Wait 10 minutes, then 20, then longer if necessary. During that time, redirect your energy into something that nourishes you. Go for a walk, stretch, journal, or breathe deeply. Say the spine line silently to yourself. Chasing lowers your position. Repeat it with intention. Keep your phone out of reach if needed, and when the urge rises, acknowledge it without judgment and redirect it immediately. Each time you do this, you reinforce your boundaries, reclaim your energy, and retrain your mind to respond with presence instead of reaction. Focus is essential in this space. Stop analyzing what they might be doing or why they haven't reached out. Stop imagining all the scenarios where things should happen differently. That is wasted energy. Instead, turn your attention inward. Invest in movement and creativity, in work that challenges and inspires you. Spend time with people who honor your energy and see your worth without needing to take it for granted. Build routines that restore your emotional bank account, because this is where real strength comes from. The spine line again, chasing lowers your position. When you shift focus to yourself instead of chasing, your presence becomes magnetic, your energy becomes protected, and your clarity grows. Over time, as you consistently step back, a change begins in their mind. They start to notice what they previously overlooked. The patterns you were trapped in become visible. They realize that your energy is not infinite, that your patience is not unconditional, and that your compliance is no longer guaranteed. Even if they do not act immediately, the awareness has been planted. Your restraint communicates more than words ever could. Your silence signals standards. Your boundaries show that you will no longer be taken for granted. These shifts are subtle, but they are undeniable. Chasing lowers your position. Repeat it again, because it anchors every choice you make in moments of discomfort. Each time you pause, each time you redirect, each time you resist the urge to explain or fix, you reinforce your authority over your own energy. You are no longer defined by someone else's expectation of you being the bigger person. You are defining yourself on your terms, and that is powerful. Your daily focus determines how sustainable this practice is. Nourish yourself in body, mind, and spirit. Move in ways that bring energy and life. Engage in work or creativity that excites you. Connect with people who see your value and honor your boundaries. Journal your reflections and meditate on your priorities. Each deliberate act of self-care reinforces the spine line. Chasing lowers your position. Over time, the discomfort of silence transforms into clarity, and the pattern of overextending and giving too much begins to dissolve. In this space, you start to feel a quiet strength you may have never noticed before. You begin to see patterns clearly. You begin to understand the value of restraint. You begin to reclaim energy that has been habitually drained by old habits of compliance. The psychology of stepping back is simple in theory, but powerful in practice. Your silence is not absence. It is revelation. It shows your worth without words. It shifts dynamics without confrontation. And in the next part, we will explore what to do when they return, what to do when they don't, and how to let this practice transform your life with calm power and self-respect. When they come back, you do not rush to fill the space you have claimed. You meet them with boundaries that protect your energy, with a pace that feels natural to you, and with standards that reflect the respect you hold for yourself. This is not punishment, it is clarity. You can engage, you can reconnect, but you do it on your terms. You allow conversation without dissolving yourself. You allow warmth without overextending. Every interaction becomes a measure of mutual respect, not a rehearsal of old patterns. Remember the spine line. Chasing lowers your position. When you hold your ground with calm authority, your energy signals value, and your presence is recognized for what it truly is. If they do not come back, you still hold your dignity. You close the chapter without bitterness, without unnecessary explanations, without seeking validation where none is offered. Silence reveals the truth either way. If they return, it shows that your presence matters when it is earned. If they do not, it shows the limits of their willingness, their readiness, or their respect for your energy. You do not need to chase. You do not need to explain. Moving forward becomes an act of reclaiming your time, your focus, and your life. You allow yourself to grieve if needed, And then you redirect attention to what is real, nourishing, and alive. That is freedom. That is freedom. That is self-respect. Silence in its simplicity always teaches. It removes illusion. It shows patterns, priorities, and truths that words often cannot. When you step back, you see who respects boundaries, who honors energy, and who is willing to meet you where you are. That awareness is a gift. Whether or not the outcome matches your hopes, you no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You no longer give without thought. You no longer allow your energy to be disposable. The spine line applies here too. Casing lowers your position. Every moment you hold your attention and your energy for yourself is a declaration that your value is non-negotiable. Let's summarize the lessons so far. Silence is not absence, it is revelation. Casing never elevates your position. It diminishes it. Stepping back allows insight, clarity, and the reclaiming of energy that has been habitually drained. When they return, engage on your terms with boundaries, pace, and standards. When they do not return, honor yourself. Close the chapter with dignity and move forward without compromise. The spine line chasing lowers your position. Let it anchor your choices, your pauses, and your responses. It is a principle you carry into every interaction, every moment of discomfort, every decision about energy and presence. One clear action step you can take today is simple. The next time you feel the urge to chase, text, call, or explain, pause. Take a full breath. Place your attention on something that restores you: movement, creativity, reflection, connection with supportive people. Repeat silently. Chasing lowers your position. Let that guide your response. Each time you practice restraint, you reinforce your boundaries and reclaim the energy that has been quietly siphoned by habit, expectation, and old patterns. You are not powerless in silence. You are not invisible when you step back. You are not weak when you hold your standards. Strength is measured not by constant giving, constant explaining, or constant chasing. Strength is measured by presence, clarity, and the courage to hold your space. Calm power, quiet authority, and self-respect are your tools. Use them. Stand tall. Protect your energy. Hold your value high. Each pause, each act of restraint, each deliberate choice is proof that you are whole, deliberate, and enough. As you integrate this practice into your life, the discomfort of silence transforms into insight. Absence becomes revelation. Waiting becomes an exercise in clarity and self-respect. Your energy is yours to protect. Your attention is yours to choose. Your life is yours to live fully. Step back with confidence. Step forward with purpose. Hold your spine straight, your boundaries strong, and your presence undeniable. And when you are ready, watch the next video to learn how to maintain this power while building relationships that truly honor you, without ever compromising who you are.